Hello, welcome. I have had this idea or this interest in some time, well, in a few things, but one of the things that I'm exploring is, sort of revamping my YouTube channel. Yeah, back in 2009, I created a YouTube channel for my business. Most of those videos are gone these days. Fast forward quite a few years later, and I had started another business, and we leveraged YouTube. But my journey is taking a turn, and I get to do some exploration. But one of the things I wanted to do today, I'm sort of fascinated or very interested in distillation and fermentation and things like that. Many years ago, I decided to try my hand at making beer, and I did that a couple of times. And let's just say the product that I made kind of sucked, So lost interest in that primarily because I discovered craft beer. This is sort of at the beginning of the craft beer phase, and it's like way easier to just go to the store and pick up a craft beer that was already made, ready to go, versus the time, effort, and energy that it takes to brew beer. Fast forward a lot of years later, I'm sort of revisiting my interest in brewing and fermenting and making wine, and maybe eventually explore distillation. So if you know any local distillers that wouldn't mind somebody being a shadow from time to time as they do their operation, I'd love to just sit there and come watch. So anyway, maybe I can actually put my chemical engineering degree to use one day. But anyway, on to today's main topic. I've been watching this show. I don't even know what channel it's on. I think it's Discovery maybe, called Moonshiners, and it's fascinating to me. It's about these people in the hills of Tennessee and Virginia and throughout Appalachia that are distillers. They make moonshine, and they have a couple of different flavors of that show. One is sort of a competition where they have three home distillers go head to head, and the other is more of the stories of these moonshiners. But anyway, it's a great show. It's very entertaining. I've assumed that distillation is way harder, well, than they make it seem on TV. And I know it's way harder because just the little bit of fermenting that I've done in recent weeks has not gone exactly how I planned. So a few weeks ago, I decided I'm going to make an Applejack, and I'm probably going to mess up some of the descriptions. Some of you might comment about this and correct me, but Applejack is essentially you're making a wine or a brandy, so to speak, in a fermenting container. I actually purchased some fermenting equipment. I got just buckets. Figured that was easier. I've got all sorts of other tools and gadgets that I'm starting to accumulate as I continue to experiment. But I decided to do this Applejack, and the premise is you let it ferment, and you take off the fermented liquid and you freeze it, and if there's alcohol in your liquid, it will, I think the freezing point of ethanol is like negative 147 degrees Fahrenheit or something like that. But anyway, regardless, it's way, way lower temperature than water. So the theory is that the water will freeze, and then you can pour off the alcohol, and it'll be higher content alcohol and that sort of thing. So I tried that, shared it with a guy I know who actually has been into winemaking. Actually, him doing so kind of inspired me to try my hand at it. And his first comment to me is, "Spear, there's no alcohol in here." And I'm like, son of a bitch. So anyway, that experiment sort of failed. So his advice was put more sugar in it. Yeast needs sugar to eat, and when they eat the sugar, then they make alcohol. So I'm like, okay, noted. Fast forward to the next experiment. Amanda and I had tried some products. There's whiskeys that are out there that are like a citrus and a spicy. I think one that comes to mind is like a mango habanero or something like that. But we had come across something that blended a pineapple and a habanero, or pineapple and jalapeno. I can't remember which. But there's a place we go down in Edisto. It's called King's Farm Market, I think. But they have wonderful produce and pies and all sorts of things. But one of the things they have is pickled jalapenos or candied jalapenos. And I grabbed a jar one time, and they were fantastic. Like a little bit of spice, a little bit of sweetness. So my thought was on this next experiment, let's make a pineapple jalapeno wine, I guess, for lack of a better term. I'm probably mixing words here, but tried that. Added sugar this time. Plus, you got the sugar from the fruit of the pineapple. The candied jalapenos had quite a bit of sugar in them as well. I let it ferment for, I think it was probably about 8 to 10 days. I measured the specific gravity after the fact, and the hydrometer showed there was no more sugar left. Basically, everything that was in there that the yeast were going to consume, that they did. I'm learning as I go, so I would do things completely differently next time, and I will do things completely differently next time. That's going to be a video coming up soon. But the taste was so spicy. I mean, the jalapeno forward for sure. So I'd like to revisit that concoction at some point in time. I'm going to refine or tweak the recipe. Clearly, I put in too much jalapeno. So sort of in parallel with these other experiments, one other idea that I had was sort of inspired by that show Moonshiners, and also sort of inspired by one of my own personal favorite bourbons. And that personal favorite bourbon, and I'm getting no endorsement. I don't intend this to be a commercial in any way, shape, or form. I'm just sharing things that I'm trying and things that I like. This is a product called Jefferson's Ocean. I don't know if you can see that very well. But the premise behind Jefferson's Ocean, at least the way I understand it, is when they have their distillate ready, their whiskey ready to age. Bourbon, there's the whole formula and certain rules when you make bourbon, but one of the final steps is aging it in a new white oak charred container. It doesn't have to be a barrel, but most people put it in a barrel. So my understanding with the folks at Jefferson, what they do is they put this whiskey in their charred white oak barrels and put them on an ocean vessel of some sort. I don't know if it's a cargo ship or what it is, but the premise is that it ages at sea. And from my tasting experience, I do find that the Jefferson's Ocean does have a lot of caramel type notes. Also a fair amount of saltiness, which makes sense. If the sea air is penetrating this white oak barrel, I'm sure those flavor notes are getting into the product, and it's good. It's very good. I enjoy it. So the other thing that got me thinking from the show Moonshiners, they were trying to figure out how to age some of their product as well, and they did a similar thing as to what Jefferson's does with their ocean. They put some barrels on a ship on the ocean, a boat on the ocean, and they were satisfied with the product. But usually bourbon ages for years and years. And my very simplistic explanation of that is when a barrel is sitting in storage in a barrel house or whatever they refer to that as, the temperature fluctuation and the pressure fluctuation and whatnot, and the humidity causes the container to sort of flex and contract. And in doing so, it's kind of squeezing some of those flavors into that eventual bourbon, into the liquor or whatever is in that barrel. So these guys on Moonshiners had this idea: what if they could rapid age their product by coming up with some sort of way to create that movement? Normally barrels sit stationary in a barrel house. So what if you can create that movement? Would it help accelerate the aging of the product and get those flavor notes in sooner? So I decided to take matters into my own hand and to conduct an experiment to see if, in fact, there was any validity to this, essentially. So I bought this new white oak charred barrel, small. I can't remember the capacity. I think it's 5 liters. I'll provide a link to where you can get this. There's numerous options when you go to Amazon, all sorts of volume and sizes. and all sorts of things, medium char, high char, and so on and so forth. But I'll provide the link to the one I got. The barrel, and then so the other part of the experiment is, could I buy some relatively inexpensive moonshine, or in this case, I decided to get straight corn whiskey. A bottle of this is about $20 at my local liquor store. What would happen if I put $20 corn whiskey into a charred oak barrel and then let it sit there? Well, but then I was going to take it one step further. Rather than just letting it sit there, every day or so, I come down here and shake it a little bit, get the liquid flowing a little bit. And I put 3 bottles. So each of these bottles, I believe, got my glasses on, so I should be able to read. I believe this is a 750 ml bottle. I'm not going to bore you with that. It's 100 proof corn whiskey. It's decent on its own. It's got a little bite. Some people like that. But I put 3 of these bottles into this container, into this barrel. And I did that back on November the 23rd. And the day I'm recording this is December the 13th. So essentially it's been in there for about almost 3 weeks. And like I said, just about every day I come down here and shake it. Some days I forget, not a big deal. But I thought today I would share some of the results just to see what you think. So it's probably going to be a little bit hard to see, but this is just the regular corn whiskey. I tried to get as clear a glass as I could. See a nice amber yellow color. And then this is something I pulled from the barrel just a few minutes ago. Same product, same as this, except this one has been in this barrel for almost 3 weeks now. So looks a little bit darker, and you could tell that on the side by side that there is a difference. So I can tell you from my own personal tasting that the corn whiskey, it's got bite. It's harsh. It hits you. And I can tell you that the product that's been aged for 3 weeks still has a little bit of that bite, but it's mellowed out a great deal. And I know, obviously, you don't have that opportunity to smell, but the aroma, the nose that you get on this, what I'm going to call rapid age corn whiskey, is phenomenal. So I would say so far this experiment is proving successful. So I'm going to continue to sample this over time, but I encourage you, check it out, try it. If you have maybe something that you wanted to rapid age, I might explore some other things. I'm probably going to make a mead or a wine or something here soon. I'll probably mash that maybe later today or here within the next few days. But one of the thoughts I have is, after this container is empty, I'm going to put some of that product in here and let it sit for a period of time as well. So anyway, hope you enjoy this video, and look forward to your comments and feedback.